aus Frankreich.
Oui.
Buenas noches y bienvenido a la edición 19 del Festival de Cine Francés. Acaban de ver la fantástica película de Anca Damian, Las vidas de Marona, y les agradezco mucho su presencia y tenemos el honor hoy de recibir, después de la proyección de la película, de organizar un conversatorio muy excepcional con la directora que se reúne con nosotros desde Francia, y el director colombiano de animación, Santiago Caicedo. Les voy a presentar un poquito nuestros invitados de hoy. Santiago Caicedo nació en Cali. Ha ganado gran reconocimiento por las apuestas visuales de sus cortometrajes, en los que ha explorado arriesgadamente la conexión orgánica entre las posibilidades de la animación y las historias, las cuales son distribuidas por Nintendo. Su primer largometraje, Virus Tropical, producida con Francia, tuvo un destacado recorrido internacionales de festivales como Annecy, South by Southwest, Animation is Film, en Berlinale, entre otros. Estudió artes plásticas, dirección de cine, producción de imagen y es especializado en investigación de informática e imagen. Su trabajo se debate entre el diseño gráfico en movimiento, la animación, la estereoscopia y el cine. Es el director de Timbo Studio, empresa con la que dirige y produce películas, series infantiles, cortometrajes y shows en vivo que involucran contenidos de animación. Muchas gracias, Santiago, por estar con nosotros esta noche.
Gracias, Adrián.
Ahora les voy a introducir a Anca Damian. Anca Damian es una directora rumana, estudió dirección de fotografía en la Academia de Teatro y Cine de Bucarest, dirigió la fotografía de 2 largometrajes y varios documentales. En el 2008 dirige su primer largometraje, Encuentros Cruzados. Su película El viaje de Mr. Crulic, en el 2011, su segundo largometraje, es un documental de animación seleccionado en más de 150 festivales internacionales. Entre los numerosos premios recibidos, la película gana el Cristal de la Mejor Película en el prestigioso Festival de Annecy en el 2012. En el 2013 dirige su tercera película de ficción, Un verano muy perturbado, y en 2015 otro documental animado, La montaña mágica. Nos hace el honor estar con nosotros para presentarnos su última obra de animación, producida en parte en Francia, y que fue presentado en competición en el último Festival de Annecy, Las vidas de Marona. Muchas gracias, Anca, por estar con nosotros. Thank you, Anca.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much. And I let you discuss about the film right now. Thank you very much.
Hello, Anca. How are you?
Fine. I'm just finishing another long feature animation now.
I just wanted to tell you that your film is so beautiful. I'm gonna do like this small love declaration, because
yeah.
I haven't seen you before anywhere, but after I saw this film, I just fell in love with you. I don't know anything else, but this was so refreshing and so inspiring for us, the people that make animated films. Getting the opportunity to see something like this is like, I don't know how to tell you, but it just gives you, just makes you want to do more animation, you know? It's so refreshing. So thank you for this beautiful film. And
I think that it is a film that it is true. It is, always what you put inside, because I put a lot of love in it. So this love goes to the audience. I had this feeling that the heart of this film is very warm, and I got a lot of feedback from all over the world. I mean, the film went creative festivals, like 80 festivals till now, Rotterdam, Tokyo Big Festival, European Film Awards nomination. It got also festival recognition, but the reaction of some animators or some audience saying, well, this film touched me, is much more precious for me. So thank you.
Well, I have a lot of questions about the film, and I have a lot of questions about you as well. So
okay.
Let's start probably with the film. That's what we are here for. But I don't want to put aside the questions about you, because you have to become, or you have to come from somewhere to kind of create this piece. This is something that is not made from one day to another. I know you did the path of how do you call it, Crulic, the path beyond Crulic, and the Magic Mountain, and other films. And I have the feeling that this is as you say, a film more about love. Probably the things you have done before are a bit more political, a bit more documentary. Why doing this film? Why did you get the idea of doing this film?
So I'm always inspired by reality, and this is in 2014 I saved a dog that followed me. I also have a dog now. He's sleeping, luckily, and we can talk. And I was walking my dog, and this Marona, this dog, followed me in the streets, and I couldn't just let her out, leave her there. And so the starting point is in reality, but while I try to find foster families to her, and I realized that she was changing the families in which she was changing the relation between the people in the families. So this was, in a way, this reality was the starting point. But for me, I said it is important to speak about love. It is important to speak about to a bigger audience, a family audience, and also to find a way to, because for me this film is a philosophical tale, very in disguise, because it is a dog story. Oh, how nice. It is a family film. You don't expect. I saw in Annecy in 2019 when the film premiered, that people were going to see a dog story and a family film, and afterwards they were, what we have seen here. And in a way, I'm pretty, how should I say, satisfied that I could camouflage in this film the most profound beliefs that I have in love, the most paradoxal things in which I nobody is good, nobody is bad. All the characters have their limits, but they are humans and they are lovable. So for me, making a film, I was passionate to do the Crulic story, and I entered in a kind of tough story that I had to tell, a Kafkian story about the relation of the human being with the society, and also it had a lot of humor, Romanian dark humor, I would say. But in fact, doing Marona was more my word, was more of myself. So what you see here, it is that in fact I used a lot of things from me, from inside me, that were I could expose. And this is a very delicate topic, because telling people, it sounds like, well, life is a love lesson. Oh, come on, leave me alone. I mean, and in the same time, if you can expose it in a story that overwhelms you, and you feel you are there emotionally, and you also vibrate with the colors and with the images, at the end something is changed in you. And for me this was the important thing, to go beyond the I mean, go to the audience in a way that they would vibrate differently at the end of the film. But if you ask me for, there is a lot of myself that I put in it, and this is obvious out now in the.
When you say a love lesson, I also feel that it also breaks your heart, you know.
Yeah,
Because,
but life breaks your heart.
because I also feel like a lot of disappointment, you know, that could come through, you know, like this dog and that has different loving owners, or how do you call it? I don't know if owner would be the correct word, but at the end of each relationship, there's also like letting go, a disappointment. That relation finishes.
It is loving others more than you love yourself, because in fact she gives up the relation in which she feels comfortable in order to let free and let other people live as according to their choices.
Yeah.
So loving others more than you love yourself, this is true love in a way. And it is not easy for us humans. So I said a dog might be.
And sometimes Marona doesn't have the possibility of making that choices as well. She just ends like caught up in the circumstances, and she just gives into that person, or just starts loving without any questions. And I feel that is very, very beautiful, you know. There are also like many things I wanted to ask you about the style and the why animation as always. Probably it's the only way to do a film like this. Yeah, you know, like you will never get as much magic in any other medium to communicate this as well. But how did you end up doing animation, and why animation in your career?
Well, when I was in high school, I was Olympic in mathematics, but I mean, since I was a child, I wanted to be a painter, and my parents didn't let me go to the art school, saying mathematics is more something that
Of course.
touchable for them. So I realized at 16 years old, I said, well, I mathematics, in fact, allowed me now to be also a producer, because I'm also producing my films. I integrate as a computer the whole, including the production. But at 16 years old, I said, art is my life. It's not mathematics. So I decided, I was accepted at the art school for 2 years to attend. And also I went to a cine club, and I realized that I lost some drawings, some years that I were very important for doing visual art. So I went to the film school, and I graduated directing of photography. When I was doing films, and it was not Crulic the first time I had the idea, I was doing a tough documentary of psychodrama in a prison. It is a technique that used for 10 days for convicts to enter, to accept their. It's a Pirandellian theater in this treatment, and that was the first moment. But I dropped the project, because for me animation allows you to see the invisible. So while I started to do Crulic, I realized, well, the story of the dead guy can be told only in animation, and it could make visible what we don't. The appearance of the reality doesn't give you the truth of the reality. We can find the truth through the animation, because the drawing and also mixing for me, Crulic and the Magic Mountain allowed me to make a strange mix of surreality, because I was keeping pieces of reality, but in a package where the meaning of the reality became visible. And while this is, of course, in Romania, there is no traditional animation. I didn't had any studies in animation. My team didn't had any study in animation. All of them graduated art school, so we learned alone. There is an evolution, if you see, from Crulic to Magic Mountain to Marona, and also to the island that I'm going to finish now. And also stylistically, I wanted to fit the story, because for me the naivety and also the clumsiness of Crulic drawing makes sense with that story. And Marona, it's light and color, and it is vibration, and it also I conceived in a kind of subjective space that goes and develop each moment in the right way. I mean, it can seem eclectic. What the surprise the people were speaking after seeing the movie. Well, it is so different, but I forgot about it, that it is different, because in a way it makes sense with the meaning of the scene. It's not just different in order to be different. Yeah. And of course, I got a lot of, it was a huge effort, because of the way I organized the production was in a very artisanal way. I didn't have an assistant. I didn't have any production manager beside me. I was traveling between studios. I was giving, each animator was doing one character. So I was working with each animator like you work with an actor, with references, they were sending me in the morning and after lunch the shot in their stage, in each stage. And it was like a communication with everyone. I was connecting 5 small teams in France, Belgium, and Romania. And they never met. There were also 3 visual artists. Brecht Evans was in Paris, Gina Torstensen was in Spain and then moved to Norway, and Sara Mazzetti in Italy. In the beginning they were also speaking in between them, but soon I was speaking with each other alone. So it was, in fact, I was the connecting point of everything. When we had the premiere in Annecy, I realized that I had individual relation with everyone, and I didn't know how to act in front of a group, because it was a group. But it was exhausting, artisanal, but so beautiful, all the process of creation.
Yeah, you mentioned something about mixing reality and magic, and how all these things like come together to have meaning. And I have like in my head some scenes of Marona that I can get out of my head, that are very, very poetic. For example, when the invisible man comes and tries to convince Manolo to go to the circus with him, and Manolo just starts like to I don't know how to put it, like to melt, and just the strings and or when it's done.
That I named it Faust scene, because it's the temptation of he's telling his soul. But in fact, when Manole was designed, I spoke with Brecht. I want that his lines are his energy. So in order to make him change and become, and
he's a beautiful character. Like he has so much, like just the way he moves just talks so much about him.
What was the inspiration for Manole? Because in the beginning we saw some Cirque du Soleil for the acrobacies, but Manole is also walking, and at some point the animator tried to do some walks, and I found a footage with Bob Fosse doing the serpent in The Little Prince in the 70s. In fact, Bob Fosse inspired Michael Jackson in his movings, and I gave this reference to the animator. I said, and this is a real human in animation we can do, but in fact that walk was the beginning of the character.
That work is great, and for example, there's another one when it's when he just like loads all the the pile of things on the construction site and puts it in the truck, and he just like lifts the truck, and it's such a simple way of communicating things. Like you get to know so much of the character with such a small gesture. Like he's so big and he's so powerful, and he works in this place that is just like starts with the construction plans and start to build up, and you know that you get it from there, like something is going to happen.
For me, it was
that relationship is gonna.
Yeah, that relation. For me, the construction place was the construction of their relation, because if with Manole everything went in a second, with Istvan, who is more restrained and more, if you say, emotionally blocked, for him, he need that time of the construction of the relation, which corresponded with the construction.
That's very poetical, and when you get to I don't know, to meet its then girlfriend, I think there's another scene I just cannot get out of my head, is like when she's in front of all these mirrors, and you right away understand her personality so in such a poetical way and in such a straightforward way that like you know exactly what kind of person she is, and I for me that poses a lot of questions about not only you started talking about the way you had your team set up with the different little teams around Belgium, France, but also about the script and what's the relationship of like, or how would the script of a film like this work? Is it like constructed, or you have like an iron script and
if you want, of course, for the script, I worked with my son, Anca Damian. In the beginning, I was, of course, I'm working with the story. I always say I look at the film as a sausage, because it is in the length.
Okay.
And I see the length and how. So for me, it should have an prologue, epilogue, and then 3 parts that corresponded to childhood, teenager time, and adulthood. In childhood, everything is possible, so the magician was perfect fit for it. In teenager time, you feel blocked emotionally, and this was the constructor architect time, and also he's emotionally blocked and of course dominated by the 2 women in his life. And in Solange part is loving people as they are, and here it was also a space with angles constructed, because each one has its identity and its space, but all these angles were connected like in an accordion, so you could see that of course each one is different, but they are connected. And this was developing the whole, including the accident scene, who was a kind of on the top of it. You should have seen the faces of the 3D Belgian animators when I was with Gina Torstensen in Bordeaux and invited them to talk. And I said, well, in this accident scene, we entered the 4th dimension. And they were looking at me, you lady, you are crazy. It's like... Because instead, and Gina was saying, well, we imagine that this space, 3D space, it becomes anamorphotic, and then you, with your technical talent, you should come with the technical solution. They didn't come with any technical solution. Finally, we found other animators, but it was like imagining when you tell people, well, I'm doing a film in animation in order to make visible the surreality, because when you enter a memory, you feel that you enter a different vibration, and if you make the space open in a kind of another dimension, this is I mean, that it's why we are doing animation. This is the reason for which we are, otherwise you could do a live action film and it is fine.
And how did it work with Brett Evans and the other illustrators? How was, like, how did you communicate? Like, because I think like putting down to earth in real images all these ideas is a very, very hard, like what you're telling right now, but it's a really hard thing, and a lot of things could happen between that process of having an idea and setting and just transcribing it into images. So
I was
very curious.
I was very lucky, you know. Of course, Brecht Evans accepted to. He did the main characters of the film, and he was a kind of consultant of the visuals for the film. And it was I was very lucky because he and Gina and Sarah are exceptional artists, and also the musician Pablo Pico is an exceptional artist.
It's like a gypsy soundtrack in a way. Very, I love the music as well. It puts the film really.
In fact, you know, when you have beside you, because we started to meet for 2 days in Paris. And in those 2 days, you could fly. For me, it was like, because exchanging, telling them the concept, from the concept to developing into visuals, it was like we advanced, like, which is really exceptional. I mean, there is not many people. And of course, each one is different, and Brecht, Gina, and Sarah. And so after these 2 or 3 meetings in Paris, I delegate parts of the backgrounds to Gina. Gina is more organic and all the beautiful parts. And for example, she told me I started to understand the film when I asked by doing the aquarium. Aquarium in the, if you imagine, because I saw some drawing that she did for a music video, and I say, well, this should be the parts, the aquarium, this kind of organic soul that reflects the emotion. And she doing the aquarium, she entered she understood the film. Then Sarah, who is more good in straight lines, she did the Ishvan construction set, because Gina can't do a straight line. For her, everything is organic. And of course, it was a privilege to work with them. And
did you draw anything, or did you paint it?
No, I say this is. I am a frustrated visual artist that has images in head that can't, and I'm very happy that these images go through the hands of the craft, and also the inspiration of these beautiful artists. I mean, if they draw much better than me, it should be a pity to make my.
So in a way, if I'm getting it, this dialogue is also kind of open, you know.
It is open, but I give reference and I give direction for everything. And of course, this is what it is brilliant. It is that you get something. I mean, I say what I want, and this I give a reference, and then for example, Gina comes with a surprising color or with something that, and here it is. I mean, they are so perfect at some point.
And this reference, what are these references? Because
Visual from Pinterest.
yes, because they must be very, I don't know.
Yeah,
For me,
I mean,
my work is based on a lot of reference that people give to me or that I give to people, but I think your references are must be very special because you get, you get to go some places that are very strange in a way.
yeah, if I show you my folders for reference, are huge for every film, and of course, I got a lot of inspiration. I search on Pinterest or from artists that I love, or but it is also Indian painting, or it's not necessarily.
And how do you feel about Marona regarding your other work and your other films? Do you feel like Marona is where compared, I don't know, to Crulic or to the Magic Mountain, or is it a step to doing something else, or is it a part of something greater that's it's happening, or where do you see it in your life, or how do you?
I mean, I would not repeat the style of Marona. I'm not repeating the style of Marona in my next film. My next film is also beautiful but immersive. We are in an island that is like a planet where we live the end of the world, but it is a beautiful end of the world. We are happy to die there, and it's a musical with Robinson Crusoe and refugees. So it's a crazy film, and
It has to do what's happening. You were inspired by all the recent, I don't know, things that have been happening in the world.
And I realized that reality. I mean, when I started the project, I say it's in the near future, but the near future became today, and it's like I'm saying This is just for saying that I will not repeat Marona style, but for me, of course, it is. I see it a door open to the audience, and a film that it is really in his way, in his particular way, very very close to me. So for Crulic and for Magic Mountain, I got involved emotionally even, but it was not. I met people and I did research from realities that were not mine. Marona is my reality in a way, so that is perhaps closer to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny in Spain. A child asked me, "Do you do the sequel?" And I said, "What would be the sequel of Marona?" And he said, "Well, there were 9 puppies, so number 1, number 2, number 3. I could do 8 films about Marona's brothers, but I will stop living only Marona. And Marona is now an old lady. She's still alive. And
is she the one that lives with you right now, that dog?
No. Yeah, it was another dog, because my dog I had my dog while I met Marona. Marona is in a kind of Solange family now.
When you do this kind of films, or you create this stories, how do you, like you were talking about this kid that asked about the sequel, and I would like to understand, or if you think about how the audience are gonna take it, or is it more a personal voyage or trip, or where do you think, like, this kinds of, because I feel they are very artistic and personal, and they get really well connected to the audience, but they are very personal. So I don't know how your relationship with the audience would be.
I really want. I mean, for me, I think that a film without audience is a sad film, and it should go to, for me, giving them beauty, but also giving them meaning. It is very important for me. I mean, for I would not, I can't be involved in a film that I don't believe. I put things from myself. I put my life in them, but I must. So for me, it's important to give them a show, and a show, when I say a show, a visual, audio show, it should be some, they should get something in a story, because they pay a ticket and they should receive something. But of course, everything should be keeping a meaning. And if, of course, you can't change the word, all the word, but if 2 or 3 people will think about, will go outside of the cinema and still keep the movie and think the next day, then it is something done. And of course, for me, it's very important that the film also gives emotion, gives the audience something that our society misses while we are, how should I say, engaged in real life, social media and other stupid things.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can be very, sometimes I feel very disappointed on what we do, because our job can be very frustrating as well. And when you don't get that connection with the audience, it's very sad. But also when you are not able to express yourself as a storyteller or as an artist or a creator, is also very frustrating. And finding that balance between the two is very difficult, because
when I was very young, it was Kurosawa, how should I say, my first master. And I say, because he did the Seven Samurai, which is an adventure film for a lot of the audience, but it is a film of initiation, of spiritual initiation, for so giving more reading layers. Who wants to see the story of Marona will see the story of Marona. Who wants to see the deeper level of life, death, and love will read it like that. So I think that we should be careful while doing a movie to fulfill all the layers for for the people who.
and do you feel you control those layers, or a lot of things
I try. I try to.
happen there and just like evolve, or just are like
No.
magic that appear, like sometimes you don't realize what you're doing, and something you see like, oh my god, this is something that it's there, that it's special, that I didn't realize that's what's going to happen, and it happened. So
Now, a film it is achieved if you enter, you give something from yourself, and you find also a group of people that go with you in the same direction, and put also their creativity. These are the two conditions. And for this, it is. I mean, I didn't live for 2 years. I was just in this film, working this film. So you give up at some things. You can't have a nice life, drink or something. But
you give a piece of your life there. You
yeah, you
give.
give up this in your life.
And because I just keep having like these scenes in my head that I cannot get rid of. Like, like that's like what you say. They have so many layers. And for example, there's one scene where Solange Mothers is like, I don't know if she's like doing numbers for bills, and they just escape. Like it talks.
Like,
It talks about so many things in a very poetic and simple way. Like you know what's happening with the economic situation of the house, like what she's doing all day, like this struggle to get that house moving in such a simple image. And
for me, it was also having this paradoxal, how should I say, because I always like to break the tragedy with humor, and I don't let you stay in the same emotion too long or do something to be predictable. So I always mix in the scene elements, also poetical elements with funny elements or with dramatic elements, that you at some point it's not it gives also a surprise and also a complexity of life, because life is neither sour neither sweet. It's both.
and what is the thing you fear the most, like could
I
happen I don't know, with your work or with you, and I think, well, I don't know.
I fear that I fear not to give up, because for me reinventing myself and also living the present and being in the present and trying to give a meaning for the life, for me and for my work, this is, how should I say, the most important thing. And I don't want to give up this how should I say, the process of not letting because of course it is also self-sacrifice on the road, and but it's a lot of, I feel a lot of satisfaction, but in the same time I see so many people that get just a comfortable situation and start to repeat themselves and not to be true, to lose the connection with the heart of their heart, and the heart of life. It's very important to be true, and to be true to yourself also, to be meaningful. We are born for becoming better. We should not give up this, and I think that artists are fortunate to be able to create things out of because it's a lot of subconscious that I put to work when I'm doing a movie. And of course, there are Jung archetypes that I read and influenced me. But besides that, it's a lot of subconscious that helps me to express the visions of the meaning of things that I do.
Yes, because sometimes you get to have the feeling that there's something much more powerful than the script, than the art, than the music itself, and it comes together in a very, I'm gonna put it in a strange way that may not have any sense, but it's very uncomfortable. And it makes you very comfortable, because it's so awkward and so different that and so strange that it just gives you a lot of peace, and gives you the that feeling of being deep, or being different, or being not fitting. It's okay, like. And that's something I really loved about this piece, and you said it in your way, but I as a director, I come back to the same, like, how do you get people to understand this when you are working with your team? Like, you must have like very deep philosophical, I don't know, discussions, or I don't know.
The work of a director is a group psychotherapy, if you ask me. It was like, and it is never their fault. It is my fault if I don't achieve to communicate. Of course, I also at some point I gave up and I changed some people that were working on the project. I gave them 2 weeks. I know that I see that I try everything and I see that it doesn't work. And I will. At some point it is you change, and if you don't change it, then it is a problem. So you you should know when to cut. You can't achieve with everyone, but when you achieve, and with each one has its way of his way of his personality, so you might find a different way of communicating with each one. For me, it is also enjoyable, this group psychotherapy. But of course, at some point, it is you say, "Oh my God, I want simpler people with less problems, if it's possible."
I'm sadly, talking about cutting. We don't have much more time, so
I want to thank the festival, to give a big hug to the audience, to thank everyone for all their efforts to do still a festival, and to go to see a movie, and to show still pieces of art today. It is very important. So a big thank you, Santiago. A big thank you, festival. A big hug to the audience.
no, thank you, Anna, for Anca, for this beautiful, inspiring film. Hopefully, we get to see it many times over here.
Thank you. Hope to see you for real.
All my love. And really, what I said at the beginning is true. I just fell in love right away when I saw this film with you. So it's a love declaration openly.
I'm honored. I also loved your film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Good.
Als Frankrijk.